trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, big up the trend. TREND. For more technology, yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Important government announcements and events from Cabinet. This morning we're joined by Minister Fayval Williams, who will be making a very important presentation, and I'll ask Minister Williams to attend upon the podium.
Thank you, Minister Morgan. Good morning, everyone. Let me begin by acknowledging the Minister Morgan, Minister of Information. Let me acknowledge as well our Permanent Secretary, Dr. Kassan Troop, and the team from the Ministry of Education and Youth, and to say good morning and acknowledge all the members of the media who are here this morning, all those who are joining us online. Good morning. So I want to start this post-cabinet press briefing by pausing to offer heartfelt condolences on behalf of the Ministry of Education and Youth to the family and friends of Randino James, a student of Anchovy High School who was killed on Friday. I join with the State Minister and Member of Parliament, Honorable Homer Davis, in condemning the senseless and vicious attack on a young and promising Jamaican boy. We would have heard the report that last Friday, Randino, who lived in Montpelier, was playing football and was seeking shelter at a bar from a sudden downpour of rain when a vehicle drove up and two men alighted. The men, according to the police, entered the bar, opened fire, hitting Randino in the upper body. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. We also understand that a female was injured, and we pray for her speedy recovery. We categorically condemn attacks on our students. I know that our grief counselors from neighboring schools, Anchovy Primary School and Cambridge High School, continue to work with the grieving students, teachers, and family. We mourn with the family and the school community, and again strongly condemn the killing of students who, as we all know, are the future of Jamaica. Under the heading of unacceptable behavior, I want to say again that while we at the Ministry of Education and Youth and as a society perfectly understand the overflowing of joy that accompanies a win at sporting events, we have zero tolerance for behavior that seeks to tear down and destroy, as we would have witnessed on Monday morning. We saw joy and jubilation descend into something ugly. I lay the responsibility squarely at the feet of the leadership of Mona High School to hold those students who were involved in this most crass behavior to account. And indeed, in the principal's response to us, it was indicated that such actions would be taken to investigate and discipline the students swiftly. I know apologies went from the principal of Mona High School to the principal of Jamaica College. I'm imploring our students to exercise all the qualities of sportsmanship that they are taught in the sport. Today being Wednesday, I know all too well that this afternoon at 5 p.m. at the National Stadium, first time odds-defying Manning Cup winner, Mona High School, let's give them the credit, they will be competing aggressively against, again, many times, the Costa Cup champion and most dominant schoolboy football team, Clarendon College. And they're going for that coveted Oliver Shield, I would say the symbol of schoolboy supremacy, Dr. Troop. Yes. So we already know the history of these two schools, and we know that spirits are going to be high, very high, among spectators on both sides. And so I'm adamant that we do not want to see a repeat of what happened last Friday night when spectators stormed the field and brought about a premature end to the celebrations. So we're calling on our boys and girls, we're calling on our parents, we're calling on all spectators to remember that this is not just a national event, it is also an international event because Jamaica is on show to the rest of the world. So we want to fly the Jamaican flag high and display the best sportsmanship that we can. Again, we do not want the event to end prematurely due to any unruly behavior. And so in that vein, I call on ISA, the sponsors, and all involved in executing this event, this upcoming event, to ensure that there are no breakdowns in the security arrangements. We want everyone to have a safe and immensely enjoyable game. And on the important matter of behavior, I want to talk about the new behavior change support model that the Division of School Services has been introducing in our schools. It is a new way of bringing together the many services that currently exist under the Ministry of Education and Youth so that we can serve our students more powerfully. It's called the Behavior Change Support Services for Students, and it's emphasizing a team approach. So what is the Behavior Change Support Services for Students? If you look at the range of services, it's health promotion, it's health education, it's guidance and counseling and mental health services, it's a healthy, safe, and secure school environment, it's nutrition health services, it's student health services, and it's behavior change support. So when we talk about behavior change support services for students, that's what we're talking about, the list that I just went through. What we're doing in our schools, we want to ensure all students have the best opportunity to participate in the teaching and learning program in their schools and to develop healthily. We want to ensure that basic health, mental health, safety, security, behavioral, and nutritional needs of students are met. We want to promote health and pro-social behaviors, as well as help students to develop life skills that enable them to make positive decisions and manage their developmental issues. This emphasis on the collaborative or team approach by those who are empowered to offer the services is to ensure that all students have the best opportunity to participate in the teaching and learning programs in their schools. So if you go to the next slide, what you will see right on that slide is how we are approaching this. So this would be the typical secondary school in which, of course, there's a principal or vice principal. All the behavior change support services would come together as a team. So in our high schools, in our secondary schools, we have guidance and counseling. We have an HFLE, Health and Family Life Education teacher. We have safety and security in the form of a dean of discipline, and we have student health services, generally in the form of a school nurse. Traditionally, these different providers, let's call them that, have operated singularly in delivering the services. We are saying that it's going to be a more powerful delivery on behalf of the students if all of these persons come together as a team to share information about the student in order to be able to help that student more powerfully. So, and we have demonstration of that in other spheres of life. In the health field, there are doctors and nurses who get together to discuss the patient's issue. I am sure in other industries, in the scientific industry, scientists get together to discuss a particular project. In our schools, we want to begin to see this because, just as a for instance, let's say a student shows up to the nurse with a broken hand. Yes, the nurse will treat the broken hand or get additional services, but you also want the nurse to be alerted to the fact that this could be more than just an accident, a broken hand. And so you find that we'd want the nurse to involve the teacher, the guidance counselor, to come together so that there is a better understanding of what exactly is happening to the student. Another example, a teacher could notice something about a student in the classroom, and the teacher is busy. She might just refer the student to the guidance counselor, but beyond the referral, you want that teacher to also bring that knowledge to this team on behalf of the students. And I'm sure you can see how much more powerful, I know I've used that word several times, but just how much more effective the services that we can bring to help that students. Jamaicans should know that in our schools we have 1,200 guidance counselors. We have 139 established deans and others who are acting in the position. We have 180 HFLE, Health and Family Life educators, one in each secondary school. We have 120 nurses. And when we looked at the cost of having these persons in our schools, it's about $5 billion annually. So it behooves us to really look at how we're delivering these services to see if there's a better way that we can do it. And the idea of the collaboration to give credit where credit is due came out of the Deans of Discipline annual conference. We have since built the awareness among principals at all our back-to-school conferences. The regions have been sensitized, and we are in the rollout. And to support this, we want to say that an additional $72 million will be included in the grants in the next tranche of grants to be sent out to our schools. And in our next slide, similarly, it's the same model that will exist in our primary schools. But at our primary schools, we don't have deans of discipline, but we do have a VP or a senior teacher acting or in the position under the safety and security umbrella in the schools. We also, in terms of student health services, we have a vice principal or senior teacher who would manage that component of it. So if you look at the next slide in terms of, again, just pictorially, what it would look like, the form teacher, the class teacher, the subject teachers, which could be your PE, physical education teacher, your civics teacher, your RE, resource teacher, culture agent, all of those entities and persons would come together to influence behavior change in our schools among our students. So this provides an opportunity for us to be inclusive, collaborative, introspective. We want to reinforce the notion of a community of persons working together for the best interest of the students. And you can see where this would mean that students would not fall through the cracks. On the other hand, for the providers of the service, the teachers, such an approach will reduce the feeling of being overburdened. Instead, they too will have a community to which they can communicate about the students, get the perspectives from each other. And I did lay out the examples already in other fields of how those professionals collaborate to deliver a better product, a better service to the students. And so when we look at the behavior change support services, when we look at the academic support, we have to bring both of these together so that we address the holistic development of students. It's a new model and a team approach in executing the portfolio activities, all geared at behavior change. And I'm sure Jamaicans will agree with me that we need to see a marked change in the behavior of our students in the classroom, on the school compound, at the school gate, on the way home, on the way back to school, in their communities, because our children, they are growing up to be the next generation of Jamaicans, they're adults. And if we can't grow them up in a way that would suggest to us that they will take their rightful place in Jamaica, then, P.S., we just would have to redouble, triple, quadruple our efforts to ensure that is so. So as I pause to end this post-cabinet press briefing today, December 13, 2023, I acknowledge the upcoming end of this Christmas term, 2023. I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every principal, each and every administrator, each and every teacher, every caregiver, every parent, and most importantly, our students for the work that we've done since the start of the school year. I know it has been good times and bad times, but together I know that we will continue to face the many issues and opportunities for all of us in the education sector. We understand the significance, the importance of education. We understand as well the work that still needs to be done. And so I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a safe return in January 2024. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. I would like to apologize for the absence of Minister Samuda. He had an emergency this morning, so he's not able to make it. But we're willing to take questions. I think this is our final post-cabinet press briefing for the year. I would like to thank particularly you, Minister Williams, for being a constant supporter of post-cabinet. Also, members of the media who turn out, and also our support team here, the Jamaica Information Service, live streaming on the Public Broadcasting Corporation, and the support staff and team from the Office of the Prime Minister. Do we have any questions, Naomi?
Morning, Minister. Happy holidays for those tuning in to you here. Just two questions online for members of the media. Minister Williams, not directly at your presentation, but there's a journalist who wants to know about the crisis management and safety protocols that have been fine-tuned given the number of tremors that have been felt. Are you comfortable with those that are now in place, and what is being done to strengthen, if any, those protocols? And then there is another question requesting an update on the STEM schools that are being introduced by the government.
Okay, if I understand the question, the first one, they're asking about the protocols for earthquake. In our schools, if it happens while students are in schools, we do have long-established protocols. We do have drills in our schools. We work collaboratively with ODPEM to ensure that disaster management principles and how they're executed and arrangements are well known and understood in our schools while students are there. As you're well aware as well, for other disasters other than earthquakes, let's say storms or so on, or schools or shelters. And so again, there's a tight working relationship between the agents for disaster preparedness and our schools. So there's heightened awareness in our schools about disasters, fires, and most recently, the bomb threats. You saw that there was immediate action on the part of principals in all our schools that received such threats. We were able to collect information almost instantaneously. So there is a well-established protocol in terms of disasters. Of course, we should always go back and review and ensure that we're not missing any new initiative, any new action that we should take.
Thank you for that, Minister. And the other question concerning just an update on the STEM schools being rolled out by the government.
Right. So some time ago, the Prime Minister announced that in Jamaica we want to build 6 STEM school and 1 performing arts school. Since then, the Ministry of Education and Youth has been scoping out different areas, and those areas would be informed by not only the existing population needs, but the projected population needs in different parts of Jamaica. You would have seen us do an initial ceremony at the Greater Bernard Lodge, declaring that that's an area for a STEM school as well. And then we made another announcement of a school in St. Anne. And the location we're pretty close to deciding on the location there. So it is the execution of the policy of the government of Jamaica to ensure that in our education system, STEM is explicitly recognized, and our students have the ability to be in an environment in which the STEM subjects are integrated. Currently, as I've said before, we do teach all those STEM subjects. We've done so over decades, but we haven't brought them together in an integrated way. When we look at models in other countries that are successful, we see what they're doing to have a closer working relationship with corporate entities who are, STEM entities as well, to bring them closer into schools so that students can have work experience with those entities. And we want to move quickly along that environment. A STEM school, a STEM environment requires a certain kind of school, a certain kind of configuration. It requires teachers to have a different kind of sense about how they manage the classrooms. Students would do more project-based activities. Chairs in the classroom may not be arranged in nice, neat rows. They may be, in groups, over here, over here. It's a different way of teaching and learning in our schools than we're traditionally used to. And so we have the mandate to execute on this, not just the infrastructure, but to ensure that we work with our teachers' colleges as well. New teachers coming into the system would have that understanding, to work with our existing in-service teachers as well, so we can reorient them to the new STEM environment.
Thank you, Minister. There is a question for Minister Morgan, but this individual wanted to just do a quick follow-up on what you just outlined. And the question being, I beg your pardon, the question being, why not then retrofit some of the technical high schools to make them into STEM schools as well?
We're doing that. And actually this morning we were supposed to talk about our expanded TVET approach in our schools, but we will talk more in depth about that in the new year. Yes, we will be doing that because obviously 6 STEM schools will not be able to accommodate all our students all across Jamaica. And so yes, we have to look at the existing infrastructure of our schools to retrofit as well, to upgrade labs, which we have been doing. So all our technology labs in our high schools have been upgraded. I know we're doing another round in terms of providing state-of-the-art laptops and other resources in our high schools, especially those that have more than one labs. We are spending annually about $400 million for technical and vocational education training, and which, when you compare it to STEM learning, it has many of the characteristics, yes, that we want. So we're not doing one at the exclusion of the other. It's integrated.
Thank you, Minister. Let's take a question from the floor and then go to the question sent in online.
Good morning, Minister. Jordana Murphy, JIS. Can you clarify when the rollout of the behavior change support services will begin?
In the new school year, right? In the new school term in January, starting in January. As I said, the idea came out of conferences that we had at the beginning of the school year. We had to go through sensitization of our principals because it will require just a different way of working. And we have gone through that sensitization, awareness building. And so now we will begin to see the rollout in our secondary and primary schools.
Minister, don't mean to pressure you, but I'll just round out the education questions. Another one for you in terms of expanding the cadre of guidance counselors to complement deans of disciplines as a means to improve the system.
Definitely, we would love to expand from the 1,200 that we have currently, because when you look at the ratio of guidance counselors to students, that ratio is high. Yeah, We want to go to 1 to 500. We're at 1 to 500 now. We want to go at least 1 to 400. We have to do so within the confines of our budgets. And so, yes, I know this school year we added over. Yeah. So as our budget allows, we will expand because we know the value of the guidance counselors in our schools.
Thank you, Minister. Minister Morgan, question for you. It says, good morning, Minister Morgan. Unfortunately, Minister Samuda is not there, but can you say if Cabinet discussed the final statement from COP28 as yet, and what is Jamaica's position on the final document?
Minister Samuda will be making a ministerial statement where he will give an update as to Jamaica's statement at COP, as well as the final document coming out of COP. He will also be speaking on several other environmental issues that have been in the media as of recent date. So you can look forward to that this week, I suspect, in the Senate.
Thank you, Minister. Final question that I see entirely online having to do with Jamaica's vote yesterday at the UN General Assembly regarding a ceasefire in Israel and the Gaza Strip.
What's the question?
The question is just a comment from you on that.
Well, I mean, the Prime Minister would have made the final comment, really. Our government promotes peace. We promote a two-state solution, and the Prime Minister would have articulated that at another place. And I think if you refer back to that statement, it was very fulsome and very clear as to what the government's position is. And I think this vote demonstrates it as well. All right. Thank you very much.
No further.
Well, thank you very much. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year when it comes. Please ease up on the cake. I'd like to thank all our viewers who have been very loyal to us over the last several months. We'll be back next year. I think it's the second week in January for another post-cabinet press briefing. I want to thank all of you for joining us and wish you all a wonderful and safe day. Thank you.